live. Again, I'm just going to wait. Good night. Good night. I want to wait for persons to come back on. Hello, hello, hello. Good night, good night, good night. Let me. Audio is good. To God be the glory. Ha. Thank you, Tisha. Let's hope this internet behaves itself as I wait for persons to log back in again. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Trying to get this right. I hope persons are able to get back in. Thank you. Oh, guys, tonight was a fight. It was a fight. It was a fight. So this must be good. Tisha, honey, this must be gonna be good. Why the fight is so great tonight? Okay, I'm just giving everyone a minute to come back in. I hope to get back on. But thank you guys for who is here now. Thank you for coming back on as I wait a minute, filled with excitement to share. Yeah, he mad, he mad, he mad, he mad. He is mad, but that's okay. That's all right. I am committed. I am committed to the process. It was a fight to get on today. I could not send out my regular notification, and then the internet is acting up, but that's fine. That is fine. We going with that. Either way. So in the meantime, as we wait for persons to come back on, I hope you're able to. If you could just please share this live. We're about to start in a minute. This live for me with someone. I believe it's going to be a blessing to someone this evening. I am Arkia Hake. I am here making sloppy progress again on another Tuesday, doing what I believe God has bid me to do. And if you don't know who I am, I'm the dream coach. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a physical therapist. And I am here to help you to bounce back, thrive, to ride life's roller coaster so you can ultimately be your best. Okay. And last week, thank you, thank you so much. Last week, I started off talking about some of the foundational pillars for this program, for this community. And if you missed the last week, I am encouraging you to go back to watch that. It was talking about I am worth this. So if you want to know what you are worthy of, I want you to go back and to listen to last week's live, because it was good. It was really, really good. Again, I had persons messaging me all throughout the week about how they were encouraged by it. So let's share that with somebody else, okay? And again, if you're just coming on, please share the live with someone. I believe it's going to be a blessing to someone on tonight, okay? So, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about the pillars of process. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? Before we even start, right? Before I start tonight, I want you to give me one word. Put one word in the chat for me about, let me know how your day was today. One word in the chat from everybody who's listening. One word chat to describe how your day. My day was busy. I had a busy day, very unpredictable. Let me know how your day was in the chat. As I try to pull up my stuff here on the computer. I hope it behaves itself. One word in the chat for me. It was awesome. I love that, Elder Jolly. It was awesome. One word in the chat. How was your day today? Welcome, 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 everybody. It was awesome. It was too much. It was smooth. I like that a lot. It was smooth. It was much. Tisha, I could imagine why it was too much. I think every day at work would probably be too much for you. You were born for that, Tisha. You were born for that. Letitia, she's a teacher. She teaches children. So imagine every day is probably too much. All right. So we're talking about pillars of process. And why this is important is because the whole basis of coming on here is to help people to bounce, help them to thrive, right? And in order to bounce back from something, right, it means you would have gone through something in life. And as we all know, we've been talking for the past few weeks, we all have a process we must go through in life, right? What do I mean with a process? What do I mean by that? A process is a series of steps or acts taken in order to achieve a particular goal or particular end. So as we look at our life, if we were to look at our life from birth to the day that we will die or the day that we will be raptured, there is a process. There are a series of steps or actions that we will take between here, the moment we were born, where we are right now, and the moment that we will leave this earth. There's a process. Okay, so tonight we are talking about the pillars of process. So when we're talking about bounce back, we're talking about thrive, about being your best, there are some key elements or some foundational elements or principles that this community be built on. And you could actually get a pen, you could get a piece of paper that you could jot these down, because these things that I have used during my trials, during my tests, these are some of the principles that I use on a daily basis to help me to keep going. Sometimes, because we talk about feelings, we talked about mind battles. Sometimes we know if we mind how we feel, if we mind the different things that coming in our mind, it's easy to get off track. And we talked all about that. But now I want to give you some practical tips that you could use to go through whatever process that you may be going through now, that you will go through, maybe even something that you would have already gone and you're still trying to get over it. It's still a hurdle in the front of you and you need to get beyond it. All right, so we're talking about the pillars of process. And tonight is actually linked to last, because we were talking about the story of Job. And the principles that the pillars or the principles that we will talk about were some things that Joseph demonstrated as he went from the pit to the prison to the palace. These are some of the lessons that we can learn from him. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my stuff right now. And we're going to be going through pillars tonight, okay? And this is also that at the end of the day, we could fulfill our given purpose. That's what it's all about. And it's all about us helping each other along the way. All right? So the first pillar that we are talking about tonight is commitment. Commitment. When you're going through things, you first have to make a commitment that, hey, I will go through this. Or, hey, But we ain't about giving up. We're not about that, because we are going to fulfill our God-given purpose here on earth. Whatever that is, we are going to fulfill that. So the first thing we have to decide, we have to make up our mind, we are going to, is that we are going to commit to the process. What does it mean to commit or to be committed? It means to be fully committed to tasks or goals, despite how you feel or despite how circumstances may arise. So whatever it is that you are going through, when we say commit, we mean that you are committed. It means to be fully locked in. You have made a decision to be fully committed to whatever that is. And when I say whatever that is, that whatever that is the end goal. So if you know that God has called you, just to use, for example, to be a teacher, and we talked about this also, you may not have the qualifications that you need to be a teacher, but you feel like within your heart, you have a passion, you have a desire to work with children, but you don't have the qualifications to become a teacher. There are a certain set of steps that you would have to take in order to meet that end goal of becoming a teacher. I'm sure there are certain prerequisites. You would have to go and apply to a college in order to take the program, and then you would have to do all of the coursework, the requirements, the practicals, whatever that is, in order to receive your certification to become a teacher. The end goal, even though it's becoming a teacher, the end goal is really about helping the children. So the process is a series of steps. Now, sometimes in life, I realize that we focus on the end goal so much that we negate the steps that are required to get to the end goal. And that's what causes persons to give up, because they don't want to take the necessary steps to get to where it is that God is calling them to. So they give up for a time. So it would require you to actually sit down and write out. It may require actually do some research to figure out what are the necessary steps that I need to take in order to become a teacher, or whatever it is that you want to do. Now, some of us have natural gifts. Some of us may be natural teachers. We may be maybe a singer, or we may be somebody who just encourages persons naturally. We may have certain gifts in order to manifest our purpose, and sometimes it requires us to do things that certain certification. So for me, for example, when I decided to become a physiotherapist, my whole goal was to help people. I knew I wanted to be in the medical field. I knew I wanted to help people. But how did I want to help people? I wanted to be a physiotherapist. I could have decided to be a doctor, a dentist, or an eye doctor. All of these are things that I considered at some point in time in my life, but ultimately I decided to be a physiotherapist. Now, I could not just get up and go and say, okay, I'm a physiotherapist. There were certain things that I needed to do in order to become a physiotherapist. Now, this principle could be applied to anything you want to do in life. Whatever it is that you want to do in life, there are a series of steps that you must go through. But you may say to me, Kia, it's not something in terms of a career. It may be something, it may be a certain challenge that you are going through that may not literally require certain steps like that in terms of getting a degree or getting a job. But mentally, physically, spiritually, there are some steps that you need to take in order to get to where God is calling you to. So the first thing is, you have to be fully committed. You have to make a decision that I am going to go through the necessary steps to get to where God is calling me to. Commit. That's the first one. Next, after you would have committed, you need to be consistent. You be consistent about showing up regularly. That means having a habit to reach your goal. If I know any of you guys are like me, right? I had a habit of starting some stuff and not finishing it. If that is you, have you ever started something and not finish it? Just say I in the chat. Just put I in the chat if that was you, if you've ever done that. Please. So when we talk about being consistent, we mean to really maintain habits to reach an end goal in any area of life. That's what we're talking about. So I am not alone. I see some eyes in the chat. I know that I am not alone, so I don't feel bad, right? However, I came to a point in my life that I realized that years, we talked about all of this. Years were passing by and I had these goals, but I was not accomplishing any of them. I did not have a set of habits or routines or steps that I did to get me to where I wanted to go. Again, if I draw back to me becoming a physical therapist, I came out of school in 2006, right? I did what most young people do. I don't know if it's a Bahamian thing, but I did what most young people do, which was go to COB for 2 years, and then I decided to go off. Now, I did not end up in the physiotherapy program until 2012. So that's 6, that's 4, that's about 6 years. So for me, my study had off. 1, 2, I was sure what I wanted to do. So all of those different types of careers that I listed off to you, I wanted to be each one of them. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a eye doctor, I wanted to be a dentist. But I came to a point where I'm like, here, you need to get it together, because all of my high school classmates who I was graduating with, they would have been starting to graduate with their first degree. So it was like an eye opener for me, like, girl, you need to do something with your life. And this was the point I decided that now I have to be consistent. I had to buck down, I had to get some habits, I had to surround myself by the right type of people, persons who were focused, persons who were also spiritual. I had to then tune into what was I wanted to accomplish. So I knew that I was already in 6 whole years without one degree. And the program, the physiotherapy program, was only 3 years. So it was a very intense program for a bachelor's degree. Usually, the program, they said, is 5 years, and they crammed it into 3 years. So it was very challenging. So this was time I knew, like, yeah, girl, you got to do something. You're not getting any younger. You got to do something with your life. That was the moment when I started to get some habits. Like Tasha says, I have habits you need to stop. Yeah. And what it is, people, to be honest, we all have habits. It's just that we don't always have good habits, or we don't have the habits that we need to help us to get where we need to go. And that's why it's important to us consistently, every day, every week, looking at your life, because we should all have our goals to attain. Even as we at the end of the year, we should be thinking about what it is that we want to accomplish for 2023. If we reach in 2023 and we deciding what it is we want to do, we're a little bit late. Now is the time to start thinking about what goals you want to work towards for 2023. And now is the time to start mapping that out. All right, I see Elder Jolly said she tried the college nurse, police college nursing. You just wanted a job, yeah, and that's a lot of people, Elder Jolly. A lot of people just want a job, but I don't believe in just getting a job, because when you just get a job for getting a job, it affects the quality of work that you produce. It affects the type of employee that you are. Some persons ain't meant to be on a 9 to 5, and some persons need to be on a 9 to 5. Some persons shouldn't have their own business; they just weren't built for it, and they don't have a passion for it. They're just doing it because they can do it. Now, one of the trends that I have with my generation, which is the millennials don't want to work for nobody. We don't want to work for nobody. We want to live our best life. We want to travel the world. We want to be our own boss. That is what the millennials are into. However, a lot of millennials don't want work, because even if you have your own business, you still need systems. You still need good habits in order to produce a successful business. Even as a believer, we still need to have certain habits and stay connected to God. There are certain habits that we need. A lot of us have been living our lives haphazardly. That means whatever happened goes. Whenever you wake, then you wake up. Whatever happens to get done, it gets done. Whatever didn't get done, it doesn't get done. That's not the way we are supposed to live. And Proverbs talks about a foolish man. God has given us a roadmap that we should be following. So, one, we need to be committed. Next, we need to be consistent. Okay? And the next thing that we need to do is that we need to be true to ourselves. We need to be true to who we are as individuals. And we need to be true in terms of what we present to others. We need to walk with integrity. And something that Joseph did very well. Joseph decided that after his brothers did what he did to him, he could have decided that, hey, I'm going to be better. But he did not. Joseph took the dream that God gave him, and you know what he did? Joseph operated like a leader from the moment that he had that dream. You realize that when Jacob sent out Joseph to go to his brothers, when he sent his brother out to them, sent Joseph out to them, that Joseph was alone. He was set aside, and he didn't have any problem being set aside. He knew that he was not to fit in. And when Joseph was thrown in the pit, he could have decided to have a pity party, but he did not do that. When he went into Potiphar's house, he operated with a spirit of excellence. And yes, God was with Joseph as he is with each and every one of us. Just like he was with Joseph, he is with each and every one of us. But one, Joseph had to make a decision. Joseph had to make a decision to show up and to be true to himself. He operated in truth. He operated with integrity. He did not wait to get to the palace to start operating like a prime minister. He was leading in Paul's house. He was leading in the prison. He from the moment he had that dream, he started to operate as such. So what is that thing? I'm asking you, that thing that God is calling you to? Are you waiting to get there to start operating like you have it? Are you waiting to get there to start dressing the part, to start looking the part? No, you do that from now. So if you are a single lady and you are waiting to get married, going to wait to get married to start operating and starting your house and keeping yourself like you are married? No. You start walking that from now. Start carrying yourself as such. Because sometimes I know as a single person, sometimes you're for the other person and they ask the question, are you ready? Are you the wife that man needs? Start doing the part, start dressing the part, start picking up the characteristics of a wife, of a mother, those things that you desire to be. Start walking with when the man comes, you are ready. And Carly said it well. It's important to be true to yourself. Yes, because many of us are wearing masks. Operate in truth, operate in integrity. Don't lie to yourself and then everybody else around you, they can see you are flawed and see you are wearing a mask because you're not walking with integrity. Don't let the words that you speak be different from the life that you live. Don't be the one saying, okay, I have faith, and I'm believing God for this and I'm believing God for that. But then all through the week, you're doubting, you are complaining. You're not making any steps toward end goal. Each and every one of our life is a process. The day you are born, the day you will die, there is a dash in between. That dash is the process. The dash between the day you were born and the day you will die is the process. What will you do with that dash? What will you do with that dash? So we will admit it. We will be consistent. We will be true to ourselves. We will be humble. Be humble. Never look down on others. The scripture says, always esteem others higher than yourself. Again, looking at Joseph's life. Joseph would say, okay, I am the most favored child of my father, and look down on his brothers by the way that they were treating him. But you don't see in scripture where he did that. Now, I do believe that Joseph is a bit overly confident, but then was that a bad thing that his faith was so high that he believed confidently in the dream that God called him to, that his brothers looked at him and said, oh, look at this dreamer. Look at this dreamer coming. He always just dreaming. But really, truly, Joseph's faith was high. He believed in the dream that God had given him. He believed in that. But even in the midst of that, he was still humble enough to go and obey his father, to go to his brothers. He was so humble until even though he was in prison, even though he was a slave, he was humble enough to do the work that was required of his hands. He was not haughty. He was not puffed up. Whatever Joseph was called to do, he did it. And he did it with humility. He did so much that his overseers could trust him to the point that they didn't have to be over shoulder and looking to see, is Joseph doing his work today? Did they have to worry about Joseph escaping from prison? Did they have to worry that he wasn't going to do what he was set to do or assigned to do? No. He remained humble until his time, and he did the work that was required of him. Even though he was not in the palace. We talk about the pit to the palace. He remained humble even before that time. And being humble doesn't mean false humility. And I think a lot of times we do this, especially in the church. We operate with humility. What do I mean by that? We say it from our lips, but in our hearts are puffed up. Our hearts are filled with pride. What do I mean by that? I mean that everyone can't talk to me any kind of way. What do I mean by that? That if I am given a certain instruction to do at work, or maybe a certain assignment to do, maybe even in ministry, or maybe in your household, oh no, that's not me. I don't do that. No, a called walk with humility. And being humble is directly linked to walking with love. When you walk with love, you're going to forgive quickly. You're going to give a soft answer. You are going to be gentle when you walk with humility. And that's what we are called to do. A lot of us have up walls because of the process of being going through life, because of the traumatic experiences that many of us have had. A lot of us have a lot of walls. But we must still remain humble, even when we don't understand why certain persons target us the way that they do. And being humble meaning that you don't look down on others. Even when you having your up days, don't look down on others. And sometimes, like I said, we have a false sense of humility. Sometimes we look at others and we think, well, okay, they're not worthy of this. And I could say that, for example, maybe you may be driving on the road, and sometimes I know that certain persons, especially the male persons who be on the side of the road. I know for me as a woman, I am a little bit more cautious with that. But sometimes I have to catch myself and make sure that the posture of my heart stays at a point that I never think that I am any better than any of these persons on the side of the road. Because, or even a child, sometimes tend to look down even at children. But those children, they deserve to be respected just as much as us. They deserve to be loved just as much as us. Be humble, whether you are in the prison, whether you are in the pit, wherever you are. Because when we talk about life's roller coaster, imagine you going on a ride, right? And you have to go in to the cart. You know, if you go on a roller coaster, you're going to go in a cart, you're going to lock you down before the ride starts, right? You are on that ride and you are going to experience many different things. At some points in the ride, it's going to start off a little bit slow and it's going to speed up a bit. And then you're going to have some unexpected turns and you're going to have some sharp drops and some sharp turns that you may not be expecting. But in the midst of that, whatever it may be, whoever you may be dealing with, whatever circumstance you may be facing, whatever feelings or emotions that you may be having, you should remain humble. Remain humble. And all of these core values or these pillars that I am talking about, this is the cart that you are sitting in. The cart that you are sitting in is your stabilizer. The car that you are sitting in is your seat belt. This is the seat belt that is going to keep you safe so that you don't fall out of the ride along the way and get hurt. This is going to protect you. Being committed, being consistent, staying true to yourself, walking with humility, which is linked to love. And lastly, operating with a spirit of excellence. Let everything that you do in life have a signature of excellence next to it because you did it. Let everything that you do be done with excellence. Does that mean having the most expensive clothes or feature on maybe phone, or maybe the most expensive shoes or cars or houses? No, that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about excellence. Let everything that you do be done to the best of your ability. Let it be done to the best of your ability. And what do I mean by that? What's in your hand? What is it God has given you in your hand? Let's think about the little boy with the five fishes, the two fishes and the five loaves, right? That's what he had in his hand. So what is it that God has given you in your hand to do? No, you may not have all the money. No, you may not have all the clothes. No, you may not have all the this or the that, whatever it is. Because a lot of times we stop ourselves from going after what God has called us to do because we say, okay, I don't have this. I don't have this certification. I don't know that. What is in your hand? What do you know? Who can you call maybe to get that information? Who is in your circle of influence that can help you to get where it is that you need to go? Maybe it may be simple as just asking somebody for help. Sometimes we don't want to ask anybody for help. And I know I was guilty of that. Anybody else is guilty that you just want to do it all by yourself? Let me know, please. Because I know I did that. But now I am realizing the importance of asking for help. Sometimes, in order to fulfill the dream, in order to fulfill the goal, we have to ask for help. So, if that means, I know as a mom, I could say that for sure as a mom, I'd say no to plenty things because guess what? People are more forgiving of me because I am a mom of three. People are very forgiving. They'd be like, oh, kid, don't worry about it because I know it's hard. I know it's stressful. But when you have a call, when you have a purpose, when you know God has called you to do something, that's just an excuse in some cases because I could ask for help. I don't have to do it all on my own. And I remember recently talking to one of my mentors, an aunt. She said to me, and she said to my husband, she said, you guys don't have to do it all on your own. Ask for help. So even in terms of marriage, there are people out there who have the experience, who have the wisdom that you need to help you. You don't have to do it on your own. So stop trying because sometimes it causes you to waste more time. So essentially, you can be your best because you're not asking for help. You're not asking for help. Wow, I just learned something new. I accidentally tapped on that. You're not asking for help. So, the pillars of process. There is a process that we will all have to go through in life. The process that leads to God's purpose and plan for your life. But along the way, you're going to have some hills. Along the way, you are going to have some valleys. So there are some things that you're going to need to keep you grounded. There are some things that you're going to keep you. That's my desire, to give you the tools that you need to equip your hands to be able to live this life, to be able to thrive. That's my desire. Sharing the testimony and the wisdom of others help you. But before I get to the part of bringing more people on, going to go through these foundational pillars so that no matter what it is that you go through in life, you will be committed to the cause, be consistent, be true to yourself, be humble, and walk with the spirit of excellence. Because everyone who is on this live stream, I know y'all committed to God. I know y'all committed to that. But we need some principles to help us to be able to win in life. And that's where the pillars of process comes in. Apply it. Apply it to your life. Sit down and add out practical ways that you could deal with the challenges that life will bring towards you, because it's going to come. If it hasn't come yet, it's going to come. It's going to come. So we have to be ready. We have to be prepared. We have to encourage each other. And Elder Ali says, indeed, it is so true. It is true. So me being here tonight is me being committed, because today is my daughter's birthday, Azalea. They had a picture to put up of her. It's her third birthday. I had those excuses to say, oh, it's Azalea's birthday. No, I'm committed to this. And I want to be consistent, because the enemy was inconsistency to keep me off this platform for over a year. He was inconsistency. Yes, happy birthday, baby. I'm just learning to pull up the comments, guys. I just realized that feed there. Yes. And today is also my godchild's birthday, Prestige. She is 1 day. And also my baby girl, Tiana. Today's birthdays. All of these little princesses born on today. And I pray that God will just continue to bless them and to keep them. But that is it today, folks. That is it. We want to be excellent. We want to be committed. We want to be consistent. We want to walk in the truth. We want to remain humble and walk with love. Okay? So thank you, guys. It was a fight. It was a fight. But I believe that this message will be a blessing to somebody. So please share the live stream, because we want to equip people to be able to bounce back and to thrive so that they can be their best. And we could walk in the authority. We could walk in the kingdom dominion that God has called us to. We will no longer be defeated, because the world. Sorry, guys. Hi, guys. Sorry, I just had a call came through on my phone. The world needs us. Okay? The world needs us. So I'm going to end because my phone battery was low. But guess what? To God the glory. To God be all the glory. I thank you guys for coming back on. Even though I had some technical difficulties, you guys were committed to the cause. So I am committed. And here, thank you so much. Continue to keep in your prayers as I do what I believe God has been to do. And I hope that you will go and do the same. Okay, I love you guys. I appreciate you for giving me motivation every week to come on here and to share what God has put in my heart for you guys. So thank you. Love you guys. Have a safe one.